So the lesson that I decided to do is teaching first grade students how to create a map. So to begin, I would read the book Henry's Map by David Elliott. If I was on campus, I would go and find this book. Since I'm not, I just found the book on YouTube as a read aloud. So I'll go ahead and share that so you guys can hear it.
Henry's Map by David Elliott. For my sister Karen, who loves maps. Henry was a very organized sort of pig. He liked knowing exactly where everything was in his tidy little sty. He straightened his mirror and smiled.
"A place for everything and everything in its place,"
he said. Henry looked out his window and frowned. Tsk, tsk. What a mess the farm was. How could anybody ever find anything out there? Then he had an idea.
"I shall make a map," he said, "so that everyone will know what belongs where."
He went to his cupboard for his pencil and some paper and trotted to his table. The first thing he drew was his sty, and he drew a picture of himself next to it. Then he rolled up his map and marched outside. At the wool shed, he came across Maisie, Daisy, and Clementine.
"Bah! What are you doing, Henry?"
they asked.
"I'm making a map of the farm,"
said Henry.
"Oh, how exciting!"
cried the sheep.
"Are we in it?"
You are right here, said Henry, and he drew a square for the wool shed with 3 sheep beside it. The sheep clapped their hooves together. Henry walked across the meadow and came upon Abigail sitting in the shade of a large oak tree. "Hello, Henry! What are you doing?" asked Abigail. But before he could answer, the sheep cried,
"Bah! He's making a map of the farm, and we're in it."
"Really?" said Abigail. "Can I be in it too?"
"Certainly,"
said Henry, and he drew a scribbly circle for the oak tree and a picture of a cow. Henry continued on his way until he saw Mr. Brown grazing by his stable. "Hello, Henry! What are you doing?" neighed Mr. Brown. Maisie, Daisy, Clementine, and Abigail quickly shouted, "He's making a map and we're all in it!" "Remarkable," snorted Mr. Brown. "Is there room for a horse?"
"Of course,"
said Henry. He took out his pencil and drew a square for the stable and a picture of a horse. By the time Henry arrived at the chicken coop, all the animals were in an uproar.
"A map! Henry's making a map, and we're all in it!"
they exclaimed. He drew a square for the coop and 3 chickens.
"Now," he said proudly, "we'll know where everything is." "Follow me,"
said Henry, leading the other animals up the hill.
"I'll show you my map."
All the animals looked at the farm. Then they looked at the map. And then they looked at the farm again.
"But we're not there,"
bleated the sheep. "We're gone," whinnied Mr. Brown.
"Oh, no,"
mooed Abigail.
"Where did we go?"
squawked the chickens. Henry looked out at the empty farm. There was no sign of the animals from his map. Down the hill they dashed, Henry leading the way, clutching his map. He rushed to the chicken coop, staring at his map.
"There should be hens right here,"
he said.
"Here we are,"
puffed the hens, running behind him.
"Thank goodness,"
said Henry. He ran to the stable.
"Mr. Brown,"
he called. "I'm right here," snorted Mr. Brown.
"What a relief,"
gasped Henry.
"Abigail,"
he yelled when he reached the oak tree.
"Coming,"
mooed Abigail, running to her tree.
"Thank heavens,"
said Henry.
"But what about those sheep?" "Here we are,"
cried the sheep, dancing on the wool shed steps.
"Your map was right after all, Henry."
But Henry needed to be sure. He hurried back to his sty and threw open the door. There was no one inside. He tiptoed over to his mirror. Slowly, he looked into it.
There you are, Henry.
He smiled.
Just where you ought to be.
A place for everything, and everything in its place.
So after reading that book, then what I would do is have students talk to their partner about what they thought about the book, what happened in the book, to just kind of go over that again. And then once they do that, then I would ask the students why maps are used. And I would have students raise their hands, and then whatever answers they give, I could write on the board for everyone to see. And then I would move into the instructional procedure. So I would explain to students that maps are used to figure out where people, places, or items are located. A map is like a smaller version of an actual place and has drawings or images that represent the actual items in the world, such as roads, towns, or furniture. After explaining this to students, I would have them discuss with their partner when they might use a map. And after a minute of discussion, I would ask the students if they would like to share, and they can share with the whole class. And then I would go into the activity. So I would explain to students that they would be hiding. It could be a small, like one of the small fuzzy pom-poms, or it could just be a sticky note. If I was teaching this in this class to everyone, I would just use sticky notes. And so I would tell them that they're going to hide one and then create their own map, and then go and find their peers where they hid it following the map. This could be done in the classroom. It could also be done outside or in the gym, in the library, just whatever works best. A bigger space is probably better. And then after this, I would hand each student a map that I created. And before teaching this, I would go and hide my pom-pom or sticky note, whatever it is. So I would show them a map. So I would just make one copy of it. I would just draw one and then make copies of it and give it to each student. So I would first show them what's on it. So this might be reversed, but I would have like the tables and chairs, and like the bookshelves and the rug, and like the teacher's table, the front board, the door, so they kind of know which way it's facing, and like couch and bean bags, whatever is in the classroom I would draw. And then I would show that this is the calendar, and let's say I hit it somewhere on the calendar. I would put a star, and I would show the star means the sticky note in the key. So then I would let them work as a team to go and find my sticky note. And after they do this, they would meet back up after they find it. And then I would instruct them to go hide their own sticky note or pom-pom. And when they're done with this, they would meet back up, and I would show them how to create a map. I could do this on a board. If I was outside, I could do this on a poster or a marker board too. So it would be basically the same map that I created, but this is just kind of showing them how I did it. So you would have to show them that you would create a border to the map, and then you would need like the door if you're inside, and like a teacher's desk if there's one, or tables and desks, and just kind of draw that. This is just a rough drawing. And then you would want to show bookshelves, and like if there was a couch in the classroom, you could draw that. Just whatever. Oh, you guys can't even see it, but I was drawing it. Just whatever you draw, just show them how to put it. And you can tell them that they can label it if they want. So they can put like the word table in here. And then wherever they hide theirs, they're gonna need to put some kind of symbol down. So if they want to, like, if they hit it in the bookshelves, they would want to put a star around where they hit it. As long as they put like a key and they show that a star means the sticky note. as long as they have that where you can see it. So then I would give them some time. I would probably want to limit them on time so they don't go crazy in detail. It would just need to be like a rough drawing. So maybe give them like 10 minutes to do this, maybe 5 minutes. After that, I would have them get in a line to make it easier and just like pass their map to the right. And then tell them to go follow the map and find where their classmate hid their sticky note or pom-pom. And once they find that, then I would have them meet back up. They would give their map to the person that they got it from. That person would want to write their name on the map beforehand so they know just in case. And then I'd have them go back to their seats and give them 2 questions to answer, and they can just write these answers on the back of their map, and this would be used for assessment. I would just ask them, how do you think you did on creating your map? And how do you think you did on following your classmates' map? So this would be used as assessment because I'd have them hand it in, and so I can see their answers to these questions, and I can also see how they drew their maps. I'm also watching them when they find their maps and create them, so I can also use that as an informal way of assessment. And then that's how I would close the lesson.